Mississippian culture.
The Mississippian culture, a remarkable pre-Columbian civilization, thrived in the Ohio and Mississippi valleys and left its mark on the earth like a stamp of grandiosity. And there isn't any denying the show's star was that Cahokia site, smack dab in present-day Illinois. We will dig deep into why studying this Mississippian culture is worth our time and how it ties into the veins of U.S. history. We'll be eyeing their triumphs, trade routes, social structures, and how it all came crashing down, painting us a vivid picture of the complexity and diversity of prehistoric North America. This culture isn't just some ancient tale, it's got its claws in the present-day southeastern Indian nations, revering their roots and their ancestral mounds. The Mississippian folks sprung up around 950 and were no amateurs. They built their mighty cities along the Mississippi River, and there isn't one grander than Cahokia. The Monk's Mound of theirs stood tall and proud, outshining other famous structures like the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico or even big pyramids in Egypt. Cahokia spread over 6 square miles, showing off their smarts in astronomy and understanding soil types. With a population of roughly 30,000 folks at its peak in 1250, Cahokia was the cream of the crop, the most significant city in prehistoric North America, and that isn't any small feat. Cahokia was like the big boss of the region, bringing folks together for trade and chit-chat, mixing it up with neighboring chiefdoms from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf of Mexico. Their trade networks spread like wildfire, sharing culture, cosmology, and art symbols, and that stuff hasn't faded away. It had a long-lasting effect on the southeastern Indian nations, like the Cherokee, Choctaw, and Creek. They picked up the tradition of building platform mounds for council houses, keeping the Mississippian spirit alive and kicking. But, like with all good things, it had to end. Around 1450, the Mississippian culture took a punch to the gut, and its population fell like a rock. We still need to figure out why, but there's talk of climate change messing with their crops, fights breaking out over fertile lands, and nasty epidemics sneaking in through trade networks. Whatever it was, the consequences shook the region to its core, that's for sure. Studying the Mississippian culture isn't a walk in the park, but a worthy one. We get to understand the heart and soul of pre-Columbian America, the stories and struggles of a mighty people that shaped this land before the Europeans barged in. This Mississippian tale doesn't just end there. It stretches its arms into the present-day southeastern Indian nations, showing us how their roots run deep and they're still holding on tight to their traditions and the ancestral mounds. It's like an ancient bond that refuses to be broken. Those Mississippian folks were some crafty engineers. Their urban planning was a masterpiece, with monumental earthworks that'll leave you gawking. And the way they dabbled in astronomy was no small thing. These folks had smarts and style, making their mark on the land like no other. Their trade networks were the talk of the town back then, and it still echoes in the southeast. Like a river flowing from generation to generation, cultural exchange left an indelible mark on their Native American communities. The mounds and symbols are all part of the Mississippian legacy that keeps living. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. That sharp population decline, it's like a haunting reminder of how fragile things can be. It's like a warning from the past, showing us that even the mightiest can fall, and we best keep our eyes peeled for modern-day challenges.
So, you've managed to endure a slice of the RPTM podcast. We pat ourselves on the back for possibly coaxing a chuckle out of you, but let's be real, we're aiming for the tears here. If, by some twist of fate, you actually found this clip halfway interesting, do us a favor, bestow upon us the mighty power of the thumbs up and grace that subscribe button with your presence.